Hey guys, let's knock out this review video for test 24. All right, the first one already been factored for you. All you do is make a little sine graph. So we'll do the sine graph, -1 and also +4. Remember, we plug in 100 every time. That'd be 96. That's 101. Don't care what it is, but it's positive. So it means everything over there is positive, then negative, then positive. I'm looking for less than 0, which is negative. The negative sign is between -1 and 4. That's all you gotta do. Number 2. See what's going on here. This time you have to factor yourself. Factors of 2 that give you +1 would be x plus 2 and x minus 1, which means my two zeros on my line would be -2 and +1. Plug in 100 there, that'd be 102, that'd be 99. That's going to be positive, so plus minus plus. I'm looking for positive, which is between -infinity and -2, and also 1 to infinity. That's all you got to do on that one. Number 3. Same deal. Need to factor that one first. Don't try to take the square root. Okay, move that over and factor because you need both zeros here. So it's a difference of squares, which is just x plus 7, x minus 7. And then I can go ahead and draw my sine graph with the -7 and a +7. Plug in 100. That's 107. That's 93. That's going to be positive minus positive. I'm looking for greater than 0. The greater than 0 is between -infinity and -7. And also from 7 to +infinity. These are pretty quick. Number 4. Again, got to factor first. So it's good factoring practice today. Let's move the 6x over. And let's factor. So it's going to be, this one does not factor. I thought it did at first because I'm thinking 4 and 2 with that 6. But because it's a -8, kind of stuck there. So let's get our calculators and graph it real quick. When I graphed it, it does cross the x-axis, and part of it's below and part of it's above. I'm looking for the part that's above the x-axis, so I'm going to have to find the zeros here. So I'm going to complete the square on this one. Move the 8 over. Take half of 6 and square it. 9, that gives me x minus 3 squared over here, and 17 over here. Take the square root of both sides. And move the 3 over. And I get that right there, which is pretty darn ugly. So, because the graph is doing this, I'm going to put a little sketch up here. Graph's doing this right here, which means it crosses here and here. And I'm looking for the negative part, which is in between these two, which is below the x-axis. I'm going to say, okay, it crosses the x-axis between 3 minus the square root of 17, which is the left point, and 3 plus the square root of 17, which is the right point. Hope that helps. Number 5. Same thing here. I've got to move everything over. This one won't factor. So, but think about what the zeros could be. Make a list. The factors of 6 are 1, 2, 3, and 6. So I'm hoping it's one of those. Again, we'll get my calculator, graph it, and see where it crosses. And no surprise, looks like it crosses at -2. So I'm going to try -2 in the box right here and see if I get a 0. 1, 2, 0, 0, negative. Doesn't look like it. Let me see if I made a mistake there. Sure did. How do I multiply there? For a second. Okay. 1 times -2 is -2, which is -4, which is +8, which is 3, which is 6. There we go. And that leaves me with this right here, x squared minus 4x plus 3. I can factor that and get x minus 3, x minus 1. So now I can draw my sine graph. I have a 0 at -2. Got to put that there. I've got 1 at +1 and 1 at +3. I'm going to go ahead and put the x plus 2 down here and plug in 100. That'd be +97, 99, 102. If I multiply 3 positive numbers together, I get a positive, so it's plus, minus. Because it's less than 0, I'm looking for the negatives. One negative is between -infinity and -2 with a bracket. The other one is between 1 and 3 with brackets because there's an equal sign in that problem. And number 6, last one of these. Number 6, you can factor by grouping. So I'm going to group the first two together. I can take out an x squared. That leaves x plus 1. I can take out a -4. Also leaves x plus 1. You should get the same thing. You should get x plus 1 in both of those. Now you can take out an x plus 1. That leaves you with an x squared minus 4. But obviously x squared minus 4 is the difference of squares. You can keep on going. Make that x plus 2, x minus 2. So on my number line, I'm going to have 3 things. I'm going to have -2, -1, and also +2. Plug in 100 again. That's going to be, that one's positive, that was positive, that's positive. So the whole thing is positive. So that's plus, minus. And because it's greater than, I'm looking for pluses. It's equal to, so I'm going to use brackets, -2, -1, and also 2 to infinity. All right, number 7 and 8, 9, 10, 11. Find the critical values. Now 7 and 8 need to be pretty quick. There's not much work here. The only critical value for 7 is 3. If I plug in 100, I would get a 1 on the top and a positive on the bottom, so I get plus and minus. I'm looking for positive, so I'm just going to put 3 to infinity in parentheses because there's no equal sign. Number 8, remember the critical values are what makes the numerator or denominator 0. The denominator being -1, the numerator is 0. If I plug in 100, the top's positive, the bottom's positive, so it's plus, minus, plus. I'm looking for the pluses, so I'm going to say -infinity to -1 with a parentheses, and then 0 to infinity with a bracket, because the reason I have a parentheses here is because you cannot make the denominator 0. I have a bracket here because you can make the numerator 0, and that's no big deal. All right, number 9, a little bit more work this time. So number 9, got to add those two fractions together first. So you remember you multiply your denominators, and then I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to say x plus 1 times x minus 1, and also go the other way, x minus 3 times x minus 2. Do your FOIL methods here. This is just foo, the first one. Minus, if I do FOIL, I'm keeping that parentheses, remember, just so that I can remember that minus sign covers everything. So what's going to happen here is my x squareds cancel. A negative 5x is just 5x. And I have -1 minus 6, which is -7, over x minus 2, x minus 1. That's an x. All right, so I can draw my sign graph now. And I'm going to have, let's see, a 1. That's not a 1. A 1 and a 2. And also, remember, the top is the opposite of the second number over the first. It's going to be positive 7/5, which is between 1 and 2. And if I put 100 in, I'm getting a positive on the top and definitely a positive on the bottom. So it's plus, minus, plus, minus. I'm looking for the negative because it said less than 0. So I'm going to go from -infinity to -1 with the parentheses. And also 7/5 with the bracket because it's in the numerator. And then 2 on the top with parentheses. That's okay. Number 10. Same type of, number 10, a little bit different here. I have, got to factor the bottom first. So this is really x plus 2, x minus 2. This one is x plus 2, x plus 5. So in this one, because the denominator is so big, let's just move them over and find the LCD. So the LCD is going to be this. It's going to be all of them, x plus 2, x minus 2, and x plus 5. It's going to have all of them. I'm going to move this over, by the way. I'm doing two things at once. This first fraction is missing the x plus 5, so I'm going to do 3 times x plus 5. When I move the second fraction over, the 5 becomes negative, and it's missing the x minus 2. So I'm going to work that out. Just work out the numerator real quick. It'll be 3x plus 15 minus 5x plus 10 over x plus 2, x minus 2, x plus 5, and that's less than equal to 0. So my numerator is going to be -2x plus 25, which is huge, over x plus 2, x minus 2, and x plus 5. There we go. Now I can draw my sign graph finally. So I'm going to have a -5, a -2, a +2, and my numerator is going to be opposite of the second over the first, -25 halves, which is really +25 halves. I'm going to erase this, make that for 25 halves right there, and put the 2 right there, because 25 halves is really big. So plug in 100, the top's going to be negative actually, the bottom's going to be positive. Negative divided by positive is a negative, so it's going minus, plus, minus, plus, minus. And I'm looking for the minus, so I'm going -infinity to -5 with the parentheses because it's on the bottom. -2 to +2 with parentheses because they're on the bottom. 25 halves in a bracket because it's on the top to infinity. Wow, it's a pretty good one right there. Let's keep on going. Number 11, one more. I do the same thing here. That's really x over 1. That's 4 over 1. I'm gonna put all of them. I'm gonna find an LCD, which is x. So basically multiplying everything. Well, I'm gonna put everything over x. So like the 4, if I put the 4 over x, it's gonna be 4x over x. This 4 already has an x, and this is gonna be x squared over x. All I did was multiply each numerator by x because I'm multiplying each denominator by x. Now I can move everything over, make one big fraction. Because the denominators are all the same, I can make one big fraction here. So I'm going to have a 4x minus 4 minus x squared. I always hate when my x squared is negative, so let's do this. Let's change the signs. Let's make it positive x squared minus 4x plus 4 over x. And I can do that as long as I flip that sign. Remember, if you multiply or divide by negative, you just flip the sign. So my numerator is going to be x minus 2 times x minus 2 over x. Okay, so my sign graph is going to have a 0 and a 2. Plug in 100, the top's going to be positive, the bottom's going to be positive, so it's going to be plus, minus, plus. And I'm looking for less than 0, which is between 0 and 2. So I'm going to put a 0 with a bracket, a 2 with parentheses, because 1's on the numerator and 1's on the denominator. Those last two are pretty good problems. I hope that's okay. Number 12, find the domain. Remember, domain is whatever you can put in for x, but you cannot make the bottom 0. So I'm going to factor that denominator, make it x minus 5, x minus 1. So here we go. Domain is all x such that x cannot equal 1 or 5. That's all you got to do in that one. 13, determine the vertical and horizontal asymptotes. First of all, vertical, whatever makes the bottom 0. So I'm going to take that x to the 5th plus 1, set it equal to 0, see what happens. If I move the 1 over, negative 1, take the 5th root, you can punch it in your calculator, you're going to get negative 1. So the vertical is going to be x equals negative. Don't forget the x equals. Horizontal has 3 rules. If the top degree is bigger, there's not one. If the degrees are the same, you do leading over leading. If the bottom degree is bigger, which is the case this time, it's always y equals 0, so I'm going to go y equals 0. 14, determine the oblique asymptote. Oblique means slant, and the way you find the slant is you just do the synthetic division. So I'm going to put a negative 3 in the box. 1, 4, negative 1. Bring the 1 down, multiply, add. Now, you don't have to do remainder on this one, so even though if you do this, you don't have to finish. Those are the numbers you need, which, by the way, that represents x plus 1, because I started with x squared. So your oblique asymptote, just put y equals x plus 1. It should always be slope-intercept form, and that's all you have to do. Just do a quick synthetic there, but don't use your remainder. 15, draw the graph. So draw the graph of this thing. Factor the bottom first. If you factor the bottom, you get this, which means your x's cancel, which gives you 1 over x plus 3. So here we go. My vertical asymptote is going to be x equals negative 3, whatever makes the bottom 0. The horizontal is going to be y equals 0 because the bottom degree is bigger. The x-intercept, whatever makes the top 0, you can't make 1 become 0. Your y-intercept, you cover up the x's, which is 1/3. So let's graph that. X is negative 3. The vertical goes right through there. The horizontal is y equals 0. The y-intercept is 1/3, which is right there, which tells me the graph has to do that. And when you punch it in your calculator, you'll see the other side of the graph does that. So what is the domain? The domain is left forever, but it skips the negative 3, and then it goes negative 3 to forever. The range, it goes down forever, skips 0, then goes up forever. Boom. 3 more. It's a pretty long test. 16. You need to know your stuff tomorrow. Find a polynomial function of degree 5 with 1 as a 0, multiplicity 2. That's going to be this, x minus 1 squared. 0 as a 0, multiplicity 2. Remember the x, we put that in the front. Negative 1 as a 0, multiplicity 1. And then just put your f of x in the front. That's all there is to that one. 17 is just straight up synthetic. I'm going to put a 2 in the box. Got a 1. Don't forget your zeros. 2, 0, negative 3. You need to end this with a 0 because there's no constant term at the end. Bring the 1 down. Multiply, add. Multiply, add. Multiply, add. Multiply, add. Multiply. There's your remainder. So, because we started with x to the 5th there, your quotient is going to start with x to the 4th. Plus 2x cubed. 6x squared. 12x plus 21. Then that 42 is going to end up on top of the x minus 2. There's your synthetic. And the last one, just to describe the end behavior. Find the degree. The degree is the biggest exponent is 8. It's even. Remember, even, odd. So because it's even and negative, both ends are going down. So the left end's going down and the right end's going down. And you can just draw a picture like that and that'll be fine. All right. Watch this. Sorry, that's a pretty long video. So the test will take you a little while. So make sure you know your stuff tomorrow so that you can get done. All right. See you then.